President Donald Trump has turned on his staff and allies as he continues to deny reality. Now, the president has been meeting with conspiracy theorists, fringe characters. For example, Sidney Powell released a Kraken, and she's meeting with them he's meeting with them inside the Oval Office. So they're bringing these crackpot conspiracy theorists literally into the White House in order to talk about ways to override the will of the voters, to throw out the election because they were not favorable to Donald Trump, right? So and as well as their power, as well as their prominence, et cetera, the grift that keeps on grifting, all that stuff, right? Donald Trump himself is, I feel like, in a weird way, he is being taken advantage of by the grifters as well. That said, he's more than happy to take advantage of everyone else. He's got authoritarian tendencies. He's a spoiled baby, all that stuff, right? And so some of the strategy, right, that was discussed was Donald Trump using the Insurrection Act. And by the way, General Michael Flynn was also there. He was the one that floated doing martial law. Okay, General Flynn, disgraced General Flynn, I should say. He is somebody who's a criminal. He was a criminal who was pardoned by Donald Trump. So you've got criminals in the White House. Do you remember? I seem to remember that there was a freak out by Republicans when Obama invited Common, as a rapper, Common, to go into the White House. Oh my God! How dare you disgrace the White House with this rapper, with this Common? Oh my God! How dare you bring this guy in here? All while Donald Trump is disgracing the White House with a literal criminal who is now talking about doing the Insurrection Act, suspending the Constitution, ending habeas corpus in order to overturn the election for Trump. I'm just saying. Like, oh yeah, and of course, Kanye. Kanye, I feel like Kanye is one of those things where it's like the guy needs mental health care. And the thing is, of course, he can afford mental health care, but he just chooses not to get it. That's kind of what I feel about Kanye. Like, he says crazy stuff. And then the only thing that I think they really have in common is the fact that they both are masters of hype. So it's one of those things. But anyway, you had that criminal inside the White House, and then you had a crazy person, speaking of crazy people, Sidney Powell. So now, one of the ideas that was floated, and I talked about this in another show, is, Sidney Powell being appointed as special counsel to go and root out voter fraud. Now, that in itself has drawn fierce pushback from congressional Republicans, as staffers, and even, of course, Rudy Giuliani. Now, Giuliani, it's pretty funny because I talked about this yesterday, because there's a couple of different outcomes of being able to push that investigation into voter fraud. For one, you're not going to find anything. And so you don't find anything, you get embarrassed, and all that stuff, because, again, there's absolutely no evidence of widespread voter fraud. Okay, so they're going to have to come out and admit, just like the Department of Justice, oh, right, we looked for voter fraud, we couldn't find any, so now what's going to happen? Okay, well, and besides, even if there was an investigation, you think that would basically end anytime soon, before January 20th? They have less than a month. Okay, less than a month. You're not going to get an investigation done in that time. It's going to overturn any sort of, overturn the election. Okay, it's not going to happen. The other thing, what it would do is that, if you do this investigation, she's going to make things up. And that's going to, again, further embarrass everyone else, going to show it for the grift that it is. And for people like Rudy Giuliani, the grift is kind of the point. Like, hey, please send us money. The deep state is preventing us from actually doing this. The media is not covering this massive investigation into widespread voter fraud, how they're trying to steal the election from you, the deep state, the Democrats, George Soros, and the ghost of Hugo Chavez. So there's that. There's two different ways that this is going to go. And so Rudy Giuliani's against that. Now, another person that's against it is White House counsel Pat Scipione, right? Now, as a result, and you're not going to be shocked by this, according to Axios co-founder Mike Allen, who reported that Trump has now grown paranoid. Of course, because I keep telling you this is exactly what's going to happen, okay? But he has grown paranoid about his own vice president and Republican leader Mitch McConnell. It's almost as if everything that's happened was forecast by people who have studied Donald Trump, not only over the last 4 years, but even before he became president. A lot of us were like, this is probably something that's going to happen. What's going to happen if Donald Trump loses the election? What is he going to do? Well, it turns out he's going to do this. He's going to do this. He's going to deny that he lost and try to hold him to power. And that's exactly what's going on. And anybody who is not loyal, by the way, is going to get the shaft. Again, we knew. So now, Pat Scipione, right, is one of the people, and as well as Mitch McConnell, that has pushed back against impounding voting machines. Now, Rudy Giuliani was in favor of this. He actually asked the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice says, no, we can't do that. It's not under our purview. We can't do that, okay? So now the president looks at anybody who pushed back against that as weak. So you're weak and you're insufficiently loyal if you are not going out and impounding voting machines to try to overturn the will of the voters. And again, William Barr, as I pointed out, the Justice Department, William Barr, who was now resigning. He is leaving, and now he is a traitor to the right wing because somehow he must have been compromised by the deep state for doing an investigation that found no evidence of voter fraud and having to come out and say that we didn't find anything. We didn't find any voter fraud. William Barr, he must have been paid off by the ghost of Hugo Chavez, and all that. So I mean, it's the only explanation. The only explanation, because obviously massive voter fraud, right? Because Donald Trump says it. Although, to be fair, we did find voter fraud. You're going to love this, right? A Pennsylvania man has actually been charged with illegally casting a ballot for president, for President Trump, not Biden, but Trump, in the name of his deceased mother. So this is from The Hill. District Attorney Jack Stolzheimer told reporters at a news conference that a man named Bartman, that's his last name, I forget his first, Bartman, Simpsons throwback, oh, I love it, admitted that he was able to register his dead mother to vote online and request an absentee ballot in her name, which he then filled out and submitted. So this is somebody who did voter fraud through absentee ballots. Oh, now wait a minute. Now, wait. Okay. So he did the voter fraud, right? But wait, I thought that this was, I thought that voting through absentee ballots and by mail is so completely insecure that millions of ballots of these ballots can get through undetected. But yet, when it happened to somebody who voted for Donald Trump, that's when they found it. Again, I can't see any other response to this by Trump supporters, other than of course denial, which I guess is another response. But then to say, well, look at that, see, they know how to catch voter fraud. They just choose not to spin it into another conspiracy. Because of course, right? Bartman, who was able to secure an absentee ballot in the name of his mother, who was also deceased, but did not cast a ballot in her name. So he almost did an absentee ballot as well. So, oh, I'm sorry, mother-in-law. Not just his mother, but his mother-in-law. Ah, okay. Local investigators They caught him because of rumors circulating about a ballot being illegally cast on social media. So like that turned into a complaint, which was filed to the Delaware County Board of Elections, according to the Inquirer, and a task force was able to find evidence of a possible crime. Weird. Hey guys, it looks like the system works. Weird. So they could take a rumor on social media, look into it, and find actual voter fraud. I would say the system works and it's pretty secure if we can catch something like this. And it's also, it seems rather weird because like there was the allegations of widespread voter fraud by Democrats, but seems like the only time that we can find voter fraud is really when it's, you know, perpetrated by Trump voters. That's super weird. Real weird. Oh, okay. But back to Pence. I kind of get off track, off track just a little bit. But Alan's article also noted that the Lincoln Project has been getting inside of President Trump's head. Now, they ran an ad saying that Vice President Mike Pence was turning on Donald Trump. And as a result, he is starting to doubt Mike Pence. And no segment on Mike Pence is going to be complete without
Mike Pounds.
I'm sorry, I have to. It's a requirement at this point. I have to do it. One more time for levity.
Mike Pounds.
Okay, now we got it out of our system. All right, at least now I do. All right. So now, guys, you know I've talked about the Lincoln Project, guys. Okay. I think the only thing that they've ever been successful at doing is getting inside of Donald Trump's head and making him feel bad. Okay, and I guess it's sort of the point of half the point of the Lincoln Project, to get into Donald Trump's head, to make him feel various feelings, and then not good feelings, very bad feelings. And the other thing that they said that they were trying to do is to get votes for Democrats. They didn't deliver. Okay, actually more Republicans voted for Donald Trump than before. All right. But like, in addition to getting lib money, at least they've been going and making Donald Trump feel bad. And making him more paranoid, which I gotta admit, I do kind of enjoy. I am human, and I do enjoy to see Donald Trump suffer just a little bit. Okay? That's just, I admit it. I'm not above it. I'm not a good person. I'm a normal human being, and yes, I enjoy watching terrible people go a little crazy from ads. I'm sorry, but not sorry. Okay, but anyway, there's more. So now, Trump has had a problem with Mike Pence for some time. Okay, for one, according to Axios, Trump views Pence as not fighting hard enough for him. And Pence's role on January 6th, by the way, has begun to loom large in Trump's mind, according to people who've discussed the matter with him. What happens on January 6th? Mike Pence has to come out and basically admit that the election was legitimate, to certify the results. Okay, he's going to come out and he's going to say, yes, everything was above board. Donald Trump has lost, I have lost, and Joe Biden will be the 46th president of the United States. And that's it. Is there anyone that Trump does not have a problem with? Himself? Ivanka? That's the list is real short. Very, very short. Trump would view Pence performing his constitutional duty in validating the election results, not sort of validating, as the ultimate betrayal. So, stay tuned for that mess, because that's going to be a lot of fun. All right. But it's not just Mike Pence. There's more. Axios also reported on Monday that Trump was trying to set fellow Republicans against Mitch McConnell. How's that going to go? Oh, it's going to go very, very poorly. Donald Trump does not have a lot of heft within the Republican hierarchy. And the reason I say hierarchy and not party is because in the Republican Party, among the voters, Donald Trump is super popular. The voters just absolutely love this guy. But the establishment Republicans don't. They really don't like him. They'd line up behind McConnell because McConnell actually does deliver for Republican congressmen. He has delivered many victories legislatively. And so they look at it that way, whereas Donald Trump tends to deliver, I think, more rhetorical victories. You know, for owning the libs. And that's generally what it seems to be about. All right. So there's that. But it's funny because Trump insists that McConnell is indebted to him because of the Kentucky election, where you had a super weak Democrat. I can't even remember what Amy McGrath. That's what it is. Allison Lonergan Grimes 2.0 got fucking destroyed. And I know that there's some questions about the legitimacy of that election that some of you have, asked me to look into. Sure. And, I can definitely look into that. But right now, it seems like the election was, again, above board. And Kentucky just has it just has a history of voting. And I think this is true for a lot of elections where incumbent Republicans especially win, but also incumbent Democrats as well, where, yes, they may have a low opinion of their congressman, but they still end up voting for them anyway because it's a habit. I think it's mainly that. So that said, he had his personal assistant. This is what the article says. He had his personal assistant last night send around to Republican lawmakers a PowerPoint slide arguing that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was, in quote, first off the ship, and Trump taking credit for McConnell's win in Kentucky. Fun. Of course, the president had nothing to do with that. If anything, the president created headwinds because McConnell won and Trump didn't. He doesn't even understand, electoral politics. He doesn't understand a damn thing. He is a loser. He's a baby, sad. He's even been asking advisors whether they can get state legislatures to rescind their electoral votes. Again, that's not going to happen. Not going to happen. And when he's told no, well, he lashes out even more. Said a source who discussed the matter with the president. Monday night, Trump spoke with House Republicans about voting to overturn the result on January 6th, a desperate vote that even Trump has privately acknowledged that he is bound to lose. Again, probably because of the deep state and the ghost of Hugo Chavez. Damn you, Hugo Chavez. Damn you. Rising from the grave to foil Trump once again. I suppose that is why we have allocated $33 million to try to overthrow Venezuela in the stimulus bill. But again, I've got to admit that it is fun to see Trump unravel because he is such an odious person. But you got to remember this, and I think this is the ultimate lesson here. Okay, is that part of the establishment strategy, and this goes along with, of course, the Lincoln Project Republicans. All right, is to distance themselves from Trump now that they lost. The Lincoln Project wants to say this is not who Republicans are. But again, Trump has a 90% approval rating among Republican voters. This is who they are. And so we need to never let them forget that they had backed a con man. And the Republican Party, by the way, fell behind Donald Trump. 100%. Supported him, voted for a vast majority of his proposed legislation. And now that he's lost, they're, discarding him. Even the ones who are, of course, very loyal to him. And that's really telling, both about Donald Trump and establishment Republicans and the entire conservative movement, basically at this point in time. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.